This is just something that I found on Google at one point. You can Google unit circles and they'll all be there. If you have a textbook at home, in the back cover there is a nice unit circle. I will eventually get you one of these unit circles to use, you know, to kind of speed up the homework process. But so if you want to test yourself, you can certainly Google something at home and then write one out and check it against that. All I need from you would be degrees, radians, ordered pairs. So what do we do with all this stuff?
That is the question.
So here's a bunch of information. You can do what you want with that. But I could ask you to fill in any one of these boxes right now. So make sure you can look back at your unit circle that you just made, and then we'll go from there. Let's see. Let's do some stuff with 5 pi over 6. So we're going to start with 5 pi over 6. What? You don't have pi.
Baby missed it.
It is pi day.
Oh my God!
Putting 2015.
Where the pi is?
Okay, so first of all, find 5 pi over 6 on the unit circle. So go back to your unit circle that we just made. Put your finger on 5 pi over 6. Put your finger on 5 pi over 6. I'm looking around the room to make sure people are pointing. Okay, you're not putting your finger on 5 pi over 6. Thank you. Okay. What is the ordered pair at 5 pi over 6?
Negative square.
At 5 pi over 6 it is negative root 3 over 2 comma 1/2. So just write that in there. That's the ordered pair. Okay? What I would do if you guys come up, it's not like I have this, you guys asked me 5 pi over 6. I don't have things like, you know, like a multiplication table memorized or anything. What I would do is say, oh, they're asking me 5 pi over 6. Because it's over 6, I know it's close to the x-axis of 30. So I go through the hand trick. I go, oh, it's root 3 over 2 comma 1/2. But 5 pi over 6 is in the second quadrant. So it's negative root 3 over 2 comma 1/2. Now, when you look at this table, be very careful. They're going sine, cosine, tangent. Remember that cosine is our x. So the negative root 3 over 2 goes in this box. The 1/2 goes over here. Right? Cosine is first in the ordered pair. Sine is second. If you forget, there are things you can do with your calculator to remind yourself, but okay? What we talked about yesterday is that's all you need to know. Because the rest of it then, how do you do tangent? You put your sine over your cosine. Let's go create some room up here.
Bye-bye.
You guys just need to find a little scratch area to work. If I take my sine, that's 1/2, and I divide by cosine, negative root 3 over 2, that's like taking 1/2 times 2 over negative root 3. Get rid of your 2's. Negative 1 over root 3, can't have that, so you go root 3 over root 3. I get negative root 3 over 3. So negative root 3 over 3. So if somebody asked me about tangent of 5 pi over 6, I don't have that memorized. 5 pi over 6, remember, is the same as 150 degrees too. I don't have it memorized. I don't know what tangent is. I would have to go through this work. We're going to just take this across the row. What do you do for cotangent then? Somebody says, what's a cotangent?
Cosine over sine.
It's cosine over sine. Well, I've already got information written down. I could do cosine over sine, or I could go back to the work I just did. Didn't I have this? What was wrong with that answer for tangent? at the square root on the bottom. But if I write the reciprocal of it, what do you get? Square root of 3 over 1, which is just square root of 3, right? Now, when I do reciprocals, does it change the sign, like positive or negative? No, so this one was negative, so this one will stay negative. Secant, how are you going to do secant?
1 over cosine.
You're going to do the reciprocal of cosine. So what do you do with the negative 2 over root 3? Do your sneaky form of 1, and you get negative 2 root 3 over 3. What do you do for cosecant? You flip your sign, right? Reciprocal of sine. So if sine is 1/2, this is 2 over 1 or 2. I do not have anything beyond sine or cosine memorized. I really don't even have sine or cosine memorized. I know it from the unit circle. So we get those written down. Once you have those two answers written down, the rest of the trig function is really, you know, you just find them mathematically now. Reciprocals or the quotient, we call them quotient identities. Sine over cosine for your tangent, cosine over sine for your cotangent. Let's do this one, 7 pi over 4. Where is 7 pi over 4 on your unit circle? What's it coterminal to, or what's its measure in degrees? 7 pi over 4 is the same as 315 degrees. What's the ordered pair at 315 or 7 pi over 4? Root 2 over 2, comma, root 2 over 2. Now, you know you're in the fourth quadrant, right? So the first one is positive, going to the right, but going down in the fourth quadrant, that second one is negative. So you always know your 45s are root 2 over 2. So you go root 2 over 2. The y value, though, on the fourth quadrant is negative. The x value is positive. What do you get for tangent? What do you get for cotangent? So that's what all this y over x, x over y stuff is. I mean, you don't even have to memorize it. Memorize the quotients. When you get into the secant, cosecant, what's the reciprocal of 2 over root 2? Oh, I mean, I just said it, sorry. 2 over root 2. Now if I rationalize that, I get 2 root 2 over 2. Little chunga there, we get root 2. So watch how we do this. This is going to be root 2. And this is going to be root 2. But which one's negative? The cosecant. Sine is negative, so cosecant will be negative. Doing the reciprocal does not change it as far as positive or negative. So that's how you fill in the table. Make sense?
Yeah.
One more. We're going to do one more. I'm going to give you time to do it on your own. Let's just do, I'm confident you guys can fill it in. I'm just going to, we're going to skip over the next two here. Where is negative 2 pi over 3? Where is negative 2 pi over 3? Okay, 2 pi over 3 means the same as what in degree mode? 2 pi over 3 means the same as what in degree mode? So this is like negative 120 degrees. So start at 0 or 360. Okay? If I start at 360 and I go down in the negative direction, you know, so you're going down in the negative direction 120 degrees, where do I hit? Okay, so please find 240. 4 pi over 3. What's the ordered pair? So the idea is, I know it's a 60-degree angle, which will be 1/2 for your x, root 3 over 2 for your y. That's the ring finger tucked under. I know that the x is 1/2. The y is 3/2. If I'm in the third quadrant, though, 240 is in the third quadrant, what do you know? Both are negative. You can fill in the rest. Where's 13 pi over 6? We're talking about 2 1/6 pi. So that means I went around the unit circle. Where am I at? 30 degrees or pi over 6. We're at that very first tick mark on the unit circle. My index finger goes under. 3 to the left. So your x value is 3/2. Your y value is 1/2. All right, you're going to do this next one on your own as fast as you can.
Halfway.
Negative 7 pi over 2. If you count by 1/2 pi on the unit circle, what are you doing? What's half?
90 degrees.
90 degrees. You're doing a quadrant at a time, right? So if I start at 0, and I go down to the bottom, that's negative 1/2 pi. Get to the left-hand side, that's negative 2 halves. Negative 3 halves. Negative 4 halves brings me all the way back to the beginning. 5, 6, 7. We actually land on the very top of the unit circle. So that's the same as 90 degrees. What's your ordered pair at the top of the unit circle? X is 0, that's over there, and 1 is Y. Quickly fill in the rest, and then I will check again. If, I gotta move up just a little bit. If your sine is 1 and your cosine is 0, when you get to do the tangent, you go sine on top divided by 0. What happens when you try to divide by 0?
This is when you put a line through it.
Can't do it. I just draw a line through it. It's undefined, right? Undefined. Nope. No solution, whatever. There's no. Just when you do cotangent, that's the cosine on top, which is 0. So what's 0 over 1? So that's the 0. What's the reciprocal of 0? Undefined. 1 over 0, it can't do it. What's 1 over 1? 1. So that's how you fill it in. If you land right on a 90-degree angle, you're talking about a 0, 1, or a 1 or a 0.